Hi entrepreneurs, and welcome to another Starting a Business e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and today we're going to look into Module 5 and planning resources. So when we talk about planning resources, we can talk about human resources, which is a company department that focuses on the employees. It focuses on hiring new employees, or in some cases dismissing existing employees. It looks at also training employees, and also at times it doesn't necessarily have to be new employee training. It could be existing employee training that are shifting from one department to another. And human resources also looks at the employee benefits, and these benefits may include group insurance, health, dental, vision, life, disability income protection, retirement benefits, daycare at times, tuition, also sick leave and vacation. So they really look at a lot of different aspects of the benefits in the company. So for your business plan, human resources or management plan, it really describes how employees are managed and are rewarded. It defines employee roles, skills, and also responsibilities. To give you more information about this department, I have posted a couple of videos for you to look at, and it will give you a lot more information about HR department. So the importance of a human resource plan, it is a very big part of your business plan, and it forecasts on employee needs. It can save money in the long run if you hire the right person for the right job, or vice versa. It can cost you a lot of money if you don't hire the right person for the right job. HR also reinforces labor laws in a workplace, at times playing the part of a referee between the management and the employees for possible disputes or agreements on salary or working hours. So your human resource plan, your management team, in your business plan, what I would like to see, if you are working in groups or if you are working on your own, employee description. In other words, what is your description of what you do in the company, title of the position, what are your duties and responsibilities, and if you do have experience in that field. This would be for your business plan. So let's take a closer look at what HR does when it comes to hiring, costs, benefits, and risks. And there is the costs of hiring, there is the benefits of hiring, and there is the risks of not hiring the right person or persons to do the actual tasks. So the hiring costs, labor costs such as salary and benefits, and also the recruiting costs, which could include advertising and training. These falls under responsibility of the HR. The benefits, the cost of hiring vis-a-vis the value of having an employee contributing to your business. So it would be improved productivity. It could also be improved morale for other employees if a departing employee was a problem, or if the area has been understaffed for some time. You can hire more qualified employees than the current ones, so this also will increase productivity. And also a new employee who's more qualified than current employees can also increase customer satisfaction and potentially also save your business. So there's a lot of benefits when it comes to hiring a new employee and at times letting go an existing employee. Now the risks of not hiring. Now the risks of not hiring really is the inability to keep up with demand. So if you do not hire and you want to save money by short staffing a certain department, let's say sales or production, and you want to do extra time, overtime, or pay more at that time, you could find yourself in a position where you're going to be losing business. And the other big aspect of not hiring someone new at times is that you're stuck sometimes in a rut or in a comfort zone with the employees that you have, and no new ideas are brought into the company. No new knowledge also is brought in through new employees. So you stagnate. And as I said before, your company becomes a big, huge comfort zone, and slowly, you will lose business. Now let's take a closer look at the hiring. Hiring is a three-step process, and the first step would be to interview and to test the candidate with open questions. The second step would be a reference check, and in this case it could be work or past work and also personal. With the social media today, a lot of candidates would post a lot of information on there, and we hear this almost on a regular basis where someone is fired because of what they are posting on their social media, or not hired because of what they are posting on social media, personal stuff. So companies do verify your social media and really look at what you are posting. So be very careful with posting stuff on social media, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or anywhere else really. The third step would be to make a formal offer of employment to the candidate, which has to be defined and very clear. The job description has to detail what the offer of the job includes, and also the salary and the benefits. Most cases, this is a formal offer is written down and given to the employee or the candidate to sign. Now let's take a look at staff turnover. Staff turnover is the rate at which an employer gains and loses employees. This could be very costly for a company, and at times it could be very beneficial for a company, depending on who they hire and who they lose. Staff turnover or employee turnover also refers to the number or percentage of workers who leave an organization and are replaced by new employees. So measuring employee turnover can be helpful to employers that want to examine the reasons for turnover or estimate the cost to hire for budget purposes. So this also looks at how long employees tend to stay in a company, and also considers the goals of your employees to avoid costly employee turnover. In employee turnover costs, we have direct costs and indirect costs. So let's look at direct costs. We have leaving, which are separation costs, replacement or recruitment costs, and we have transition or training costs. If we look at separation costs, this is the more obvious cost associated with losing an employee, or at least one would absolutely think so. Severance packages, extended benefits, or even exit interviews, all of these costs have real dollar values attached to them. However, to some, these costs are the ones most likely to be overlooked when employee turnover matters are at issue. While the appropriate costs to consider vary depending on the nature of separation, voluntary or involuntary termination, there are a number of real costs that must be considered right away when calculating turnover costs. As a result, the necessity of hiring and retaining quality staff is made clear long before more subtle costs are acknowledged. Then there would be replacement or recruitment costs. These are dealing with employees' turnover. These are associated with replacing the employee that has gone or has left the company. This includes any advertising the company may need to run, employment agencies hired to help find the right candidate, also the time of the HR director who has to take the time to look for it, so that part of the salary of the HR director, as well as all monetary incentives paid to an employee who refers to the right candidate to fill the position. If the company is a large company or enough to have a hiring department, these costs can also include the time spent collecting, processing, and responding to resumes. as well as interviewing potential hires and conducting other pre-employment tests and screenings. This also has the hidden costs of networking. When you are networking with other HR directors from other companies, this is another cost that you have to take in consideration. So bearing in mind that each component of the recruitment process can be quite costly, it is not surprising that an effective recruitment effort, which typically involves more than one of these tools, can be quite costly. The third direct cost would be transition or training costs. So even once the right person is found to fill in the job vacancy, there still remains a need to train the individual with the necessary skills and knowledge of the job and of the job description to act as a suitable replacement, if not even a better replacement of the predecessor, or to bring them up to speed, as we say. So training costs can include the costs of orientation, which is best calculated as a percentage of the new hire's salary during the orientation period, as well as the cost of the trainer. So every little aspect comes into play is a dollar value. Training materials include company handbooks also, instruction manuals, and other equipment are another noteworthy training cost. So these are all direct turnover costs. So let's look at indirect turnover costs. There would be loss of production, reduced performance levels, unnecessary overtime, and one that's overlooked a lot and it's very hard to put a money value on is low morale. So if we look at the loss of production, the costs of lost productivity can be devastating if the position at hand issue has to do with the sale or assembly of the product or the service that the company provides. So in other words, slowing down your production, it can be very expensive. So addressing this is known as slippage. In other words, your production line is slipping or your sales are slipping. Slippage. So when an employee is missing, the work that isn't getting done has a price attached to it. Lost sales, production delays, and lags in new production or new product introductions, I should say, all costs your company has when you to consider as part of the equation caused by the employee turnover is essential to the understanding of just how much or how influential a single staff changing really costs. So while the costs are accounted for the same way as direct expense, getting an idea of the loss of potential revenue caused by the employee turnover is essential and important to understand just how influential a single staffing change really is. The next one is reduced performance levels. That tells you pretty much what it is. Another one would be unnecessary overtime. In some cases, there's no advantage to work more hours. And the last indirect turnover cost, which is very difficult to put a money value on, is low morale. So turnover has an impact on all the peer groups in the company as well as the management chain, making everyone else less effective. So all this cost might also fit well within the category covering lost productivity. This is another turnover cost that doesn't exactly make itself clear on the final balance sheet. When faced with the loss of a coworker, both psychologically and workload factors often impair the performance of the remaining staff. As a result of such a ripple effect, as it's called, lost productivity has the potential to account for significantly more than the work originally covered by the lost employee. It can also cause company-wide setbacks for management if the blow to morale is significant enough. Very hard to put a money value on low morale. This also goes in with the stress factor. How do we counter all this turnover? We have to stay positive, have a good attitude. So encouraging employee involvement and input fosters loyalty and respect. The mindset is extremely important. As I mentioned, the positive attitude is always good business. So retaining employees can be a source of constant worry for many employers. So they have to be very careful in how to keep their employees, make sure their salaries are correct, the benefits are competitive with the other companies that are out there. The most obvious solution is to stop the problem before it begins. So make sure you have all these factors in place, know what the competition is paying the employees. If it's a salesperson, make sure you know what the commission levels are, all of this. Being aware of all the costs associated with employee turnover is critically important, not only to the minimization of staff, in other words, reduction of staff, expenditures associated with that process, but also to sustainability of any successful business. By ensuring that appropriate investment is made in recruiting, training, and most importantly, retaining the right employees, companies can mitigate the indirect and direct costs associated with this part of doing business. As such, cost savings reaped by this approach ultimately translate into increased productivity and long-term profitability for that business. So that is a mouthful on turnover costs, that's for sure. Basically what I'm trying to say is that if you got to hire, do it right from the first time. Check your references, make sure that the candidate fits exactly what you're looking for in every aspect. For your business plan exercise, for your management plan, who will you hire first? I'd like for you to write down who was your first hire. First new employee, you have to determine the need for a new position, wherever position that is, if it's in sales, if it's in accounting, production, as such. So you've got to develop the key requirements needed from the position and qualifications, determining the salary for the position. Then you've got to post the position. Find a similar job online will suit you well. So if you go on any website, as you can see here, Indeed has a lot of job descriptions that you can use. You can copy and paste this into your business plan. I really am looking particularly for you to find someone that you're going to hire first. Great, so I'll leave you with that. And if you have any questions on this, on management and HR, please let me know online or in class. Thank you and see you soon.